Hey everybody, I'm Larry.
I'm Melissa.
And thank you for listening to this Crossing the Line podcast, a podcast where we talk about how to lead with our head and lead with our hearts, how to influence those around us, a podcast where we hope to bring you everyday practical tips that would help you in your everyday relationships.
That's right. And it is summertime, and there's a lot going on. Families taking vacation, trying to do fun things with the kids, and so we want to focus on family on this episode.
We do, and we want to talk about specifically how do you build family teams, and why is that even important? And before we jump into that, I'm going to take a shot at why that's important. I'm a data guy. I love stats, and there are a lot of stats to support the importance of having a strong family. In fact, in the U.S., 29% of families are raised by a single parent, and Melissa, that is the highest percentage in the world. I mean, think about that a minute. We're not by far the largest country, but percentage-wise, 29%. That's almost a third. A third of the families in this country are raised by single parents. What are your thoughts?
All of us know someone that is working hard, doing their best to raise their family, and they're a single mom or they're a single dad or a grandparent involved. And so, it has impacted. It's impacted our world and our kids. So it's an interesting data point to actually put a number to that and see that that's the reality of the situation.
It really is. And then you go, okay, so what does that mean, and why is that even important? And Harvard put out a study by a sociologist. His name is Robert Sampson. He did this study, and he found that the impact of family structure. What does that impact mean with the family structure? What kind of impact does it have? It says the study found that the impact of that structure is one of the strongest predictors of urban violence in the United States.
Wow.
In other words, you can predict violence by the structure and the health of the family.
Well, that puts a lot of responsibility on us as adults to really be intentional about how are we raising our families.
Exactly right. And just to follow that up, another study by the Institute of Family Studies said that strong families are associated with less crime. So you have both ends there. One study shows more violence related to family structure. One study shows but family structures that are healthy promote less violence. And so a cohesive, functioning family. Now, let's take a minute and talk about what that means, because a third of the families are not traditional, and I would dare say way more than a third, because we have all kinds of structure for families, right?
And the structure piece of having a family that functions and everyone knowing their role and being able to feel ownership to each other, that structure is the piece that makes cohesion. That's what causes people to feel responsible, to care for each other and take care of each other. So, you're talking about cohesion and the family structure. Those are the pieces that contradict some of the things that the stats that are mentioned here. When you care and you support, then there's not aggression at a level that produces some kind of stat here.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And just to be clear, some families are moms, some families are dads, some families are blended, some families are about 8%, in fact, are extended families, children being raised by grandparents or aunts or uncles. Some parents are traditional with the two parents, but they're just the makeup. It's important to know a family doesn't have to look a certain way.
That's right.
It's not
That's right.
important.
It takes a village.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? It takes a village. And,
yes.
It's important to have those members, those participants in the family that are going to, help teach and guide and instruct.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. So if you say, regardless of your structure, let's talk about what happens within that structure. And you mentioned the word cohesiveness, and I'm going to take that and kind kind of trim that down and use the word team. If we could come together as a team, cohesiveness is coming together, working together. A team is coming together, working together. So if we say family team, what does that mean to you?
Well, it to me, it sends a signal. It is a framework to be able to say that everyone has a part on a team. If you think of your team at work, in where you work, everybody has a role to play, and they're important to the success of the project. They're important to the success of the overall team. On any football team, sports team, a chess team, whoever, tennis team, if you're working together overall, even to meet some kind of goal, everybody needs to feel like they have a place and a purpose to contribute.
Do you even play chess?
I actually have and do play life-size chess.
Life-size chess. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. When we go to the beach.
Okay.
When we go to the beach, you can purchase this also off of Amazon. They have life-size chess games, and they're probably 2 feet tall, something like that, and it just takes the game to the next level.
So you have a daughter. Mm-hmm. Does she ever beat you?
Oh my goodness, like a drum. At most everything. So it's a lot of fun.
I love it. Well, speaking of, you do have a beautiful daughter, and you guys know about family teams. And recently, you had a conversation with her about this subject, didn't you? Tell us about that.
Yes, and let me start off saying that it takes time to build a team, and we have been talking about this concept for a while now. We grew up in a traditional family, and so authority looked different. Right. I think that you have to have a structure. You don't want to go way over here where there's not a structure in your family, because kids need that. We all need that. So it's been something that we've talked about and have been talking about for years, and trying to develop the language around that. And we're still working on it. But it is important that our family, that we know how to engage and interact with each other, and we learn when we're not doing that, the consequence that has on each one of us. So we do talk about we're a team. And that because we're a team, we all have a responsibility. So she is a lion in our vernacular.
So we'll take a sec. So lion is someone that generally they're task driven. They have large tasks. They have strong opinions. They like to lead. They'll like to tell you how to do it and how it ought to be done, and they don't back up on that. So knowing all that, putting that in context, she loves to be empowered and accomplish things. With that context, go ahead.
Yeah. And in fact, the other day, she told me she had a new rule for us as a family. And so I had to listen to that and listen to what the rule was. But yeah, we just recently had a conversation and to talk about our family as a team, and to think through characteristics of what describe our family team, to think about the season that we're in and how does that evolve. And so we spent some time talking about, from her perspective, what does our family look like? What are the characteristics that make up our family?
All right, so let's set that up a bit, because you did have that conversation. But how did you have it, and how did you empower her? I mean, you guys were talking, but how did you empower her?
So the concept has been there. So sometime you introduce that concept, right? That our family is a team, and that we're aligned on that thought process, that we want to be that way. And so to generate those kinds of conversations, you take time to do that, whether you're in the car, whether you're outside playing something with your kids, or you're at the table having conversation and recapping the day and how you want to hear. But for us, from time to time, we want a little checkpoint to be able to talk about, our family's a team. And so we pick up that conversation a long time ago, someone explained to me that relationship needs to be like a sponge. And you make little droplets into the sponge. And so the sponge soaks up a little bit at the time. Good. And so you don't pour, just a huge amount into the sponge. You pour a little bit at a time. Now, I like to pour a lot. Okay?
I'm sure.
I like to pour a lot at times, but sprinkle things in.
This 12-year-old that you're having this conversation with, you didn't just all of a sudden go, hey, Ellie, let's have a conversation about it. You have been working on this for years, teaching her how to have these conversations with you, right? Right. And I'm guessing when you had this conversation, you had to allow her to express. Did you ask questions and allow her to get back to you? What did that look like?
So for my lion, she enjoys question asking so that she can think about it and she can give a response. And so when we do talk and we're in that mode, it is important for me to ask her questions. It's important for me to allow her to take time to answer. So I do ask her. I do ask her questions, and I put myself in the mode to listen and put myself in the mode to give her the lead where she can answer it ever how she wants to. And it gives her the freedom to be able to express what she thinks at that time. Where we currently are.
So I want you guys to catch that. With her lion, she empowered her. She asked questions and lets Ellie kind of give her opinion, gives the answers, lets Ellie kind of lead in that discussion while she's asking guiding questions and helping her. If you have a monkey, you're going to need to make it fun. If your child is a monkey, you're going to need to find some fun and games or something. You got to laugh a little bit. You got to giggle. You got to be a little silly. If you have a camel, they're going to want some really detailed kind of sit down, maybe make a few lists and kind of think through and prep them, let them understand that, this is a process and we're going to work this process. We built a process and a system, and if they're a turtle, you're going to need to slow it down and let them have time to process and maybe let them take a few steps back and come back and visit it just a little bit at a time. That sponge approach, especially with those turtles, you may want to pour in like I do more than I do with my turtle as well. That sometimes I want to pour it on and he needs me to put it in neutral. So it's a discipline for the parent as much as it is for the child.
Oh, most definitely. And understand who you are and what your personality is and how you're going to parent from that perspective. But understanding more about who they are and how do you let them, take ownership and how do you ask them questions so that they continue to talk. It's not that yes or no type of question. It's, asking them things so that they can ponder and they can process and they can be thinking from their own perspective in their mind, what it looks like.
So we've heard kind of how you did it. Now what we want to do is let you listen because Ellie has some things to say, and your lion has some ideas. She has some things, and so I want you to listen for just a minute. We're going to play a clip. We did capture your conversation and audibly, so we're gonna just play a clip of Ellie. What were her takeaways from this conversation that Melissa had with her lion daughter about family teams? Listen to this.
In a family team, there are always different obstacles that you could go through, but the one thing I've learned that helps is talking about it and remembering that everyone has a different perspective on life and their different personalities and they like different things and they have different methods of doing things. So if someone has a different way of doing things and talking about things and likes to talk about things, then I would recommend that you try to help them out by doing it their way, like helping them by talking about it their way, and then trying to ease back into doing things a different way, because that might be the way that helps your family the best.
I love this. She had it worked out. She's telling us everything we need to know.
And then some, if we kept going, which I love. I love her perspective. I love hearing from her.
Oh my goodness.
And, it pleases me to know that she has a perspective on what she thinks, who we are and how we function.
I love that. Well, as we turn the corner and wrap this up, we've heard from the expert. We've heard from Ellie. She let us know. But as a mom and a thought leader, tell us a little bit. Just give us some takeaways on if I'm here with my family. I'm trying to have this family team. I'm trying to figure this out. What are a couple of things I need to remember?
We have been trying this for a while, and sometimes it doesn't work.
Right.
So I think it's important that that it is never too late, or there's the right time is now to try and to teach that concept and to talk about that concept. And so I want to encourage families to do that. So my points would be to think through, how can you start? Or you've been doing it and maybe you're not even aware you've been doing it. How do you pick up with that and maybe strengthen the language around your conversations and talking about a team? And then you think through, as a parent, what do you want to gain from those conversations? Is it to listen and to help them develop a voice and be able to know what you want it to look like, and let that lead you and guide you, and it'll direct you down the path, and you'll figure out how you have to take a step forward and take a step back, but it'll help you as a parent know what your guardrails are and what you want it to look like.
I love it. Start now. Be intentional. Know where you want to go. Know where you want this conversation to end. And also remember the personality that Melissa talked about. Know your child's personality, right? So you can be intentional. If you want it to end up somewhere, just like you just said, you've got to know where you want it to go so that you can get it there. And in order to do that, you got to think through, how does your child receive that information, and how does she hear you? And parenting is a journey, and I love what you said a minute ago, Melissa, that sometimes we don't get it right, and that's okay. And, we all blow it, and man, I'm so glad that failure at this is not fatal, that we can get back up and try again, and I can get back up and try again. Even with adult children, we're still learning this, and so parents, hang in. Look, keep working on that. Let's keep working on building those teams with our families. You know what? We're all just doing the best we can. Most importantly, love your family regardless of the structure, whatever it is that the family that you are in, that you have chosen to be in, that you find yourself in. Offer them that unconditional love. Work together as a team, and let's see what can happen. Now, Melissa,
it's time, isn't it?
It's time. As we end every podcast, this is my favorite part of the podcast. I get to tell a dad joke.
Let's hear it.
Are you ready?
You got a good one, right?
I got
this
a good
is a
one.
good
Oh,
good
this
one.
is a good
time.
one. Okay. All right. What do you get when you cross an insomniac, an agnostic, and a dyslexic?
I feel like I should know this one. I feel like I should get this one.
An insomniac, an agnostic, and a dyslexic.
Tell me.
You get someone who stays up all night wondering if there really is a dog. Oh, I love it. We love to laugh. Thank you for sharing a joke with us. Thank you for listening. We hope it's been helpful. Thank you for being a part of the Crossing the Line team. We know that you are doing your best, as we all are, to make a difference in the lives of those you love, live with, and lead. We'll see you next time.